Who are you?
Calvin,
You're Calvin. I love you.
you do.
Oh yeah, it's not a touch screen. So we're gonna do this. Welcome back. We took a little break on the podcast, and that was supposed to be just a little break. And it kind of spiraled into more and more. And in that time, I did a ton of work just mentally on myself, on what was going on in school, on all of the things. And I am refreshed and ready to go. So let's call this season 2 of the Simple Systems with Sam podcast. Hey, Sam here, and I know your day's crazy, but I've got a quick idea to take your stress from overwhelmed to under control. So let's tackle systems from the classroom to your living room, one simple step at a time. This is the Simple Systems with Sam podcast. We are still here, simplifying our life in all the aspects that we can. We're taking small steps to make big changes so that we don't have to do nearly as much. And today I felt like the best way to come back, I guess it's a comeback. I've always been around over on Instagram at Engineered as Education. If you want to follow me there, I post stories every single day. But right now, I want to talk about the 15 small steps that I'm going to be doing in this upcoming school year to simplify all the little areas of my life. And 15 sounds like a big number. It sounds kind of overwhelming. But I promise you, once I get into it, you're going to realize that they are truly all small steps, and they are going to make that big difference that we're all looking for. So let's dive right in. So let's start talking about school, because everything that happens with school guides how the personal and the home part of this works. With school, I am now teaching my 16th new prep in 7 years. And yes, it's insane to me that there are still more things that I haven't taught. I know there's actually a list of courses that my school offers that I've never taught. Hopefully never in line to go and do those as well. But this year, the AP course, AP Physics, has kind of redone their course guide. I'm not counting that as a new course because it was fresh to me last year. So I was still going to be working on rearranging things and organizing things in ways that worked for me. My physics course is going to be restructuring how we do certain things. It is actually going to lead to a lot more work than I had anticipated for the course, but I'm not considering a new course because it's still the same material. It's just shifted around. However, you would think that the 4 previous ways I'd taught freshmen physical science was the limit of how you could really organize content for physical science, but they surprised me. So here we are with a 5th version, essentially a freshman physical science. I have never taught probably half of the content that is going into this course. We're putting all of the NGSS standards that are net biology into a freshman level course, and it is an adventure. So because essentially all of my courses are being reworked, restructured, or completely built from the ground up, I have to simplify other things because I cannot currently simplify much about the courses until I know them a little bit better. So 16 preps in 7 years, and I am not yet going insane. We will talk in another episode about how I tackle taking on a new course or the restructuring of a course that I have, because now I am essentially starting to settle into something, which is great. It's just still changing. The ways that I'm going to simplify my classroom, because there's so much work outside the classroom that's going to have to go into these courses. One of the things I'm going to do is work on affecting some of my policies. So I want to run through some of the policy changes with you really quick. I've recorded this like 3 or 4 times though, and I will say that this is not necessarily super quick because I do want to explain it. But policies are one really effective way to simplify what is happening in your classroom. And if you want more on how I set up my syllabus, I do have an entire episode that I will link below. And I also have a course startup guide or a classroom startup guide that I will link. And that is actually what I'm still going through as I go through and set up this year. I'm working through all of those different pieces. It's free. It's available to anyone through my website. So I will put that link there, and it'll help you really kind of think through what's important to know before the first day of class. So some of the policies that I'm changing because this new freshman course has a team of 5 of us that are going through and working on preparing it. And I need my courses to all align in policies. Otherwise, I'm going to go nuts because I won't be able to keep everything straight. So what we had decided on as a group are now going to be my adopted policies for physics. Some of them for AP, some of them don't necessarily apply. But the first is that we don't have homework. So we are not providing work outside of the classroom, except for AP, that gets graded. They can take work with them to practice, but if we're going to assess it because of the prevalence of AI and that AI is getting so much better at physics and math, I thought I would really was dodging a bullet last year. And then near the end of the year, AI was starting to figure it out. But now that it's getting better at those things, if you're doing it outside the classroom, I don't want to grade it because I don't want you to feel like you have to go through and cheat to get it done. I want to be able to assist you. I want to help you. I want you to use your resources. And then I want to assess what your actual knowledge is. So homework will not be graded. On that note, late work is now a policy that I have to adopt. I've never been a fan of late work. I used to take it for 50%, and I kind of just gave a loose week countdown, but honestly, if I hadn't graded it and you still turned it in, you just got 50% off. Now, my late work policy is going to align with everybody else's, and so that is if you turn it in before the end of the unit, you lose 20%. The kind of magic in this, though, is that there should not be any late work. If we're not giving homework, all of the work should be done in class, and we are providing enough time for you to do that. If you need extended time, then we don't count it as late, right? We give you the extended time. If you're not using your class time wisely and you cannot finish it in the time provided, then you can turn it in later as late credit. And I think that that is a very good natural consequence that's going to happen. So while I don't like the idea that I'm taking late work, here we are, and I'm not mad about it. Also, we are getting a little bit more serious on our phones. So my new phone policy is probably the one thing that I think is going to dramatically simplify. My district had put in an absolutely no phones in the classroom policy last year. It became a little challenging because the phones are a great resource for when you're doing physics labs. And then so there became a gray area of when you could use your phone and when you couldn't, whether or not you always got the support of an admin or depending on which admin that student went to, it got a little fuzzy. This year, my policy is going to be pretty straightforward. If you have it out and I see it, it's going to go in a pouch. I got the pouches. I'm just going to hang them up and it's fine. If you need to go use the restroom, then you will give me your phone and I'll keep it in the pouch for the rest of class. If you need to borrow some supplies, calculator, pencil, something that you need for another class, the phone is just going to go in the pouch until the end of class. You're not supposed to have it anyway, so it should not be a big problem. But I also think that this is going to eliminate a lot of unnecessary restroom breaks. I think that this is going to eliminate a lot of unnecessary issues that can arise. So I'm just going to be the pouch lady, and I'm totally fine with that. All right, so classroom policies I lumped in as one system that I'm changing. So let's build off of that, shall we? System number 2, classroom supplies. I don't know about you, but I'm increasingly frustrated with the lack of care that is taken for the supplies that I provide. And I don't want to be frustrated. I really don't want to. So I'm going to offer up at the very beginning of the year a list of the things that we will regularly use in class that either I can supply for students or they can bring on their own. If I'm supplying it, I'm taking their phone, and that's shouldn't affect them, right? They shouldn't have it out anyway. But also, I am going to keep them behind my desk. So any classroom supplies now, they have to literally go through me to get out. And that, I think, is going to make a big difference, not only in how everything is treated, but also how everything is maintained and put away and cleaned up after. On that note as well, there is a new section of grading for, you get points for did you clean up your lab space and area. And I'll talk about how I'm going to focus on labs a little bit later. But classroom supplies and policies, 1 and 2, so excited about those. Retakes, we're not doing retakes. I am so happy about this decision. This is not something that we came to easily or lightly, but we decided that we are not allowing retakes. If you missed a test, then I am actually not going to be the one proctoring for you. We have a testing center that is open during lunchtime, and that is your only option. You have until the end of the semester to make up that test. It'll go in as a 0 until you do that. But I don't have to worry, and I don't have to monitor it, and I don't have to call you in for our study hall time where then I have 15 different things going on and I can't coordinate it. Loving it. It's simplifying everything. Notebooks. I am requiring notebooks again for my freshman and my physics classes. They're going to keep everything in here. They're going to keep all of their notes. They're going to keep any lab materials. They're going to do their lab write-ups in there. They will submit some things online, but they're going to actively write it down in their notebook while they're doing the lab. And the notebooks will not be graded. The notebooks are the only thing they can use on their open note quizzes, so they should include everything in there that they need. But notebooks kept in my classroom and put everything in there. But I'm not grading it. If for some reason you come in and need extra help and you do not have a page of notes down, then that will be kind of noted, emailed out, and then you can copy my notes. But that is also something that if it's not in your notebook, then you did not do your part of the job as a student. And that is going to be a really clear and defined line this year that I'm very happy about. The last system that I have for the classroom, man, we are getting into this. This is a longer episode than I expected. I plan to make everything ready. So what I mean by that is I should have some TAs this year through how AP Physics 2 is running and my students have to travel to another school. They need a buffer class. And so I think I have 3 TAs. Now, I thought I had a TA all of last year. Turns out I only had her second semester. So I am making everything ready for a TA to execute, not knowing if I'm going to have a TA. But what that does allow me to do, though, is maybe a student wants to come into my room just to hang out during our study hall class period. I will have a task that they can do. Student finishes early or a student just needs a little bit break. I have a task for them to do. A lot of it is some lab prep. A lot of it is cutting things, hole punching things. It's not going to be elaborate, but I'm always going to have something TA ready where other students can take over and do it if they want. And this is something that I found came up a lot last year where I had students who needed a break, who needed to kind of go in the hall and do something mindless. Or there were times where I had a TA and she didn't always get to the things that I needed, but I had other trustworthy students that I could have go and hang stuff up in the hall or work on cleaning a space up. And so I'm going to have a list and I'm going to try to prepare everything as if a TA or a student who needs some downtime could take that over for me and complete it. And then that takes it off of my plate, but also if I do come down to it, I can take over very quickly and easily because I've simplified it enough for somebody else to do. Okay, those are my 5 systems I am banking on this year for the classroom. We got 10 more. Are we okay with that? I think this is a comeback episode, right? So here we are coming back. Let's talk about the things that I'm doing for me personally. School can be super overwhelming, especially when you have new things happening. Thank goodness I'm not moving classrooms again this year. There are so many things that can go on and can take up our time. And I wanted to make sure that I had set some personal systems for me that were going to benefit me. So what I'm doing, and this is going to sound really silly now that I say this is the first one, but this is the system that I'm setting in place. I'm making a snacks for school list. This snacks for school list is going to be approved healthier snacks that I can take for school. And I am going to make sure that I am fueling myself with good things, and I am not allowed to deviate from that. I'm going to prep snack bags of carrots, of grapes, of celery and peanut butter. I will prep all of these things from an approved list that I approve myself. And these are the only things I can pack as a snack for school. I would go in and munch on, I like to munch on things. I like crunchy things, and I mindlessly munch a lot. So this is for me going to be a game changer, and I'm very excited. It might cause me to stop snacking altogether, and that also would not be bad. The next thing is I'm assigning myself Kindle time. So I started this summer, actually, when I take my kids to their gymnastics class. We switched them to a daytime gymnastics class during the summer, and it's been amazing. I dedicated that hour as like a faux coffee shop time. So for that hour, I would have my coffee, I would have a book, I would put in some headphones with some lo-fi in the background, and it was amazing. I got so much relaxation and just like consuming good books done during that hour. So when we have softball practices coming up, or when I am walking to the pickup line to wait for my girls, we walk home before Thanksgiving and then after spring break. We walk in between, we drive because it's just not worth the risk. I'm assigning myself Kindle time. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to force myself to get through some chapters because I found that reading is my number one way of relaxing. So anytime that I notice I have some time and I'm probably sitting on my phone instead, I'm assigning myself my Kindle as like my own little homework. And I'm very excited for it. I will also go into making an outfit planner this year. So the outfit planner is essentially like a meal plan, but with clothes. And I'm going to create themes or categories for each day of the week. And I am very excited about this. I started it last year and I did do pretty well, but I'm now intentionally buying clothes for school that fit into these themes. And so I know one day a week I'm going to wear a skirt or dress. I'm going to feel a little fancy. I know that on lab days, I'm going to be wearing comfy pants and a nice shirt. I plan on. Fridays is spirit wear days. To be determined still on what Monday is. I think I have an idea in my mind, but I will be able to be dressed based off of the day of the week in the options that fit into that. And that is also very exciting. Some of these things, I know I sound completely nerdy for being excited about, but I truly am excited about these systems. And that says a lot about me as a person. And I hope that you are one of those people too. The fourth simple system that I'm implementing for myself is that I am going to do Bible study time either in the morning, but if I wake up early enough, or it's going to be right after school before I pick up my kids. So there is about a 30-minute window between when I get home from my school and when I need to go pick up my kids. And one of those two times is going to be set aside for a Bible study. And one of the things that I did when I was on my season break hiatus is I went through and read my Bible all the way through for the first time. I did the chronological Bible recap plan. And I'm not saying that this is something that everybody needs to take on, but I do highly encourage it. It was one of the most profound things I've done. And while I'm not going to turn this into a religious podcast, I do think that my religion and faith are going to show through in a lot of the things that I do moving forward, whether it's directly said or not. So this time has become very important to me, and I do want to protect it. And to protect something that you want to get done, you assign it a time. And so those are my options. And by protecting it and assigning it to a time, I feel like I am finally getting back onto a path that I'd hoped to be on for years and years and years. The last thing, this is going to seem really ridiculous to some people. I am going to intentionally do digital family plans. What I mean by that is I'm going to use my Google Calendar. I am going to actually put things into the family Google Calendar. I am going to actually check the family Google Calendar. I am going to utilize its features more. I've actually included parts of things that I do on my Google Calendar to simplify things. So like for birthdays or anniversaries that are coming up for different people that I know are important, I actually set a reminder like 3 weeks in advance so I can get gifts if I need to, so that I am more aware of it coming up. For birthday parties that my kids are going to, I set a 2-week reminder so you can go get a gift. For holidays and events, I set annual reminders. Like I will actually probably get my kids Halloween costumes here in the next couple weeks because they're cheaper over the summer. This is something that I am not great at. I am a paper planner, and because I'm a paper planner, I don't utilize the things on my phone as much as I should. And I do want to stay away from my phone, so I do a digital declutter very often. I try to reduce the number of apps, I organize my photos. I try to go through my email pretty frequently. This is something I need to, instead of declutter, I need to like accentuate it. So I'm working on that. So those are 5 things I'm doing in my personal life, 5 little systems that I'm going to be working on adopting this year. And what's great about those is I can start working on them now before the school year starts. The things that are happening in my classroom can only happen when school starts, but I can start shifting into healthier snacks, assigning myself Kindle time. I'm not assigning myself outfits right now because it's summer, but I can start really planning for these things. And here we are at the final 5 simple systems that I plan on implementing this fall for the school year. And this time we're talking about home. So in the home, there are so many things that can be exhausting, that can be frustrating. And these simple little tweaks that I'm making are truly tweaks to things that I've already started, right? We're not reinventing the wheel or inventing it. What we're doing is we're seeing what didn't work, why something maybe didn't stick and hold on to, and we're going to just shift that idea so that we can make it work for us in a way that is fitting within our season, within our energy levels, within our goals. So the first thing is this default cleaning idea. So I do want to set aside some time every day on my block schedule, which I can't quite make yet, but when I do, I will make a podcast for that too. But when I set a time aside for cleaning, there's a couple things that I know are going to be frustrating to me. One is deciding what to clean. And 2 is knowing that things can sometimes build up really, really quickly, right? So the ways that I'm going to combat this are there are certain things that I'm going to default always to clean up when I'm around it. It's like my kitchen counters. When I'm there and like when I'm waiting for something to cook or reheat, or in the mornings, I might just like do a quick sweep and put things away. Kitchen counters and kitchen table, that will keep me busy. I will always think of, okay, if I see this, I need to do it now. Same thing now with laundry. This is something I'm working on. But when I see a laundry basket ready to be put away, I'm going to default to at least sorting it out so that I can put it away quicker later. I need to default to some of these things are just happening instead of building up so that they need a bigger clean later. Because while time-lapsing myself does work, I tend to go towards exhaustion. Like I will keep cleaning and cleaning and cleaning until I'm literally so exhausted. I tell my husband, like, I used all of myself up today. Like, I just can't make dinner. I don't want to get to that point, especially during the school year where it can become a little bit more stressful and you don't have as much energy. So there are certain default things I'm going to keep clean, but also when I have the time blocked out on my schedule, I will have a category for each day of something I should look at. So that takes away the decision of, oh, maybe the dishes are looking a little rough right now, but it's my cleaning time and I should default to going ahead and getting the living room picked up. And I'm going to allow the schedule to dictate that for me. And I think it's going to work really well. And if it works really well for me, it's also going to work really well for my kids. And they'll find that implemented sometime around Thanksgiving, probably. I'm going to stick to a meal schedule where we have a meal plan, themed days every single day of the week. That is also going to be determined on when we have practices and things like that. So I can't create that just yet. But I do know that I'm going to default to certain sides. I'm going to have like sides and fruit already listed out for combinations that we can do. And then we're going to just shuffle protein into the categories. We're going to shuffle the protein through Taco Tuesday. We're going to shuffle protein through crockpot meals. And we're just going to supplement with those lists of sides and fruits that we have. Kids' chores. So I am already working on my kids with doing chores this summer. And one thing that's worked really well for us is I created a list of chores, but I didn't assign them to days. So they get to pick what they want to clean, but they have to cross it off when they're done. So then that option is no longer available. So they have to move to the next one the next time they have to do chores. And we don't do chores for allowance in our house. We do chores because you live here and because we buy you things. And that is working really well so far this summer. So we're going to continue that. But alongside that, I'm going to have a chore time and also a reading time. We are working really hard on getting our kids invested into reading books and just doing some of the practices to support their school skills that we want them to have. And so that is going to be calm down time now before bed. We're going to set a reading time. So we're going to assign these things to our kids to start really incorporating them into how the family dynamic is working and how they should find and pace out some of these responsibilities. To do this also, number 4 simple system. Last year, I bought a 3-month calendar, like just a little dry erase calendar. It's giant, but it's just a laminated piece of paper with 3 months listed out, and we can erase it and put up the next 3 months. And we are going to use this because we have softball and t-ball games. We have gymnastics. We have trips that we're planning. We have events that we have to go to. And so I don't like seeing 1 month at a time. and I want something that my kids can also see all lined up. And this is going to help us feel like we have a handle on a whole quarter at a time. So we're going to hang that back up. Yes, I color coordinate things. I write everything down color coordinated with wet erase markers so that instead of dry erase where somebody can come up and smudge it or lean against it and rub it all away, the wet erase stays a little bit better. And then my kids can also help be in charge of those things. And to add on to that, with the calendar, because we are in the zone of, my kids are making really good friends. And over the summer, especially when we don't really allow our kids to have like FaceTime phones, any of those things, they're feeling like they're missing out on time with their friends. We have a playdate policy. And the playdate policy is that I will pick up and drop off somebody, but they'll just come to our house. For right now, that is working really well and nobody has argued with it. And we are going to bring them here. They can play in our basement. They can do anything they want. We can get snacks out, but it has to be like a 2-hour free period. So actually, I'm about to go pick up my daughter. She has a friend from Girl Scouts who's going to come over and they're going to play. I offered to bring her from this birthday party back to my house, and then I'm going to go drop her back off with her mom. And I think it's just going to help establish a lot of things. Like, my kids want the house clean enough for friends that they can play, but also I want to be that fun house, and I want to be the house that other parents know that they can bring their kids to, because we're at a magical zone where these play dates also give me some free time. And when that free time opens up, guess who has some more default time to clean, to work on plans, to work on more school notes. And I just think it is a beautiful policy that I am, again, very excited for. I don't know how many times I said that I'm excited for these systems, but every time I think about these 15 things, I think about how much easier my life is going to feel and how reduced my overwhelm can be because of just some little tiny tweaks. And that's what this is all about. So if you want more information on any of these, leave a comment, send me a message, email me, hello@engineerdoeseducation.com. I would love to have a chat about any of these and help you set them up for yourself. Also, if there's any topics you want to hear in this second season of our little gathering where we talk about nerdy, simplified things, I would love to chat with you. And I cannot wait until next time. See you then. Thanks for hanging out today. I hope that this simple step will help build big results in your classroom, home, and life. Remember to subscribe, review, and tag me on social media @EngineerDoesEducation so we can build a simple system together.